Welcome to my podcast. My name is Corrinala. I come to you from the Pacific Northwest where I live with my partner, our 2 kitties, and 2 adopted Mustangs. Information about the Wild Horse Adoption Program will be in the episode description box. This podcast covers knitting projects, my horsemanship journey, and my other passions like vegetable gardening and bicycling. If you're new here, I hope you find the content interesting. If you're a returning viewer, it's always great to have old friends. The format of this channel typically includes musings on an early walk to the barn to feed the horses, then knitting content, some catch up on the horsemanship journey, and finally more musings or maybe a little bicycling footage if I was lucky enough to get out. Enjoy, and I hope to see you soon. Hey friends, welcome. Today is Friday, June 13th, 2025. I have rearranged the podcast a little bit. The introductory part it's not exactly the introduction. Let me start with the introduction. I intentionally made a long introduction to give an explanation of what this podcast is about. And since it's based on 2 different, very different subjects, I wanted to show plenty of examples of what this could be about. It's also for you to potentially get ready to sit down and maybe enjoy a nice hot drink or maybe an adult beverage, whatever your preference is or time of day, whatever you enjoy, and work on your projects. I will warn you that this one could be a long one because I have a lot to say. Also, I have started putting the walk out to the barn at the end because it seems like it fits better with the whole horsemanship piece of this podcast. All that to say, if you enjoy the knitting part, then you don't have to go through the few minutes of horsemanship if that's not your thing. If you like it the old way, please let me know in the comments. I would really appreciate your feedback. So, on to the knitting. I have 2 knitted items on that were finished long ago. So one of them is the Misurina sweater. It's a colorwork sweater by Boylan Knits. I made it out of Brooklyn tweed fingering weight yarn. It is meant to be cropped. I actually added length to it because that's more comfortable for me. So it fits really well. It has, this is my injured arm. It has short sleeves with some of the color work on that. That's from the yoke. I am also wearing a Stephen West shawl. This is the Exploration Station. This is made out of primarily Knit Picks yarn, or it's all Knit Picks yarn with several different, in typical Stephen West fashion, it has a lot of different stitch patterns on it, which is pretty cool. So I made myself a lot of notes. I thought I would just go through the normal stuff. I have a half finished object for you, and I have a ton of whips that could be new cast on since the last time that I podcasted. So let me show you the half finished object, and this will tie into what I'm going to talk about later. So this is a sock of my own design. I don't know if you can see the walrus here. This is from a doodle Knitting with Doodles class I took at Northwest Fiber Fusion last Friday. I think I mentioned that I was going to do that. I did that. It was great. The sock is knit out of just a bunch of different yarn that it's meant to be a DK sock, and I think most of this is DK. Some of this could be worsted. I think the green is worsted, so it sticks out a little bit. But it was really fun. This is a self-drafted design. Is that correct? I designed the motifs. The sock pattern comes from her book, the Doodle book, and that's Jamie Lomax's Pacific Knit Co. And then this is just going to be a house sock, since A, I need some slippers. My slippers are wearing out. And B, this is just really trying to test out how to do things. So what my thinking was for this, and Jamie explained this very well in her class, is that when you're using doodles, and if you ever knit any patterns by Pacific Knit Co., there's always kind of a story. So I picked the walrus. That one really spoke to me. And then I just picked this little motif that's just kind of maybe skyline. So this reminds me sort of Arctic Light. Now, I've never been to the Arctic, but I have been in, I should probably show my face a little bit here. I have certainly experienced short winter days where the light can be very soft and peachy pinky like this. So that's what I was kind of going for with this. Maybe the sun never entirely comes up there. So you have this pink and peach, you have the walrus, and then you have this kind of wintry motif going down the sock. That's kind of what I was going for. So this was a super fun experiment, and I just finished this sock this morning. I had the sock design kind of sideways, which I didn't notice as I was starting to do decreases for the socks or for the toe, and I was knitting the foot very long, so I don't think it's going to matter to me, especially house socks. But it was just a way of, when you're designing something, it's like the first pancake or the first waffle. If you eat those, the first one is always a little bit of a mess. It's still edible, but a mess. That's the way I'm thinking about this sock. It's still wearable, but a mess. And the second sock will hopefully be better. So let me talk about some of the other stuff that I've been working on. This project will be familiar to you. This is in the float tote. It's a crochet caddy by Nitty Natty. This sweater, I've made a lot of progress since you last saw it. In fact, this could be where you last saw it. So I have all this body. Let me show you the front. So this body section done. I've already went through one skein of this main color here, and I'm gonna make this, until it's comfortably long. I'm hoping for long sleeves, but we'll see how much yarn I have of that main color. So I tried it on. I put it on the cables and tried it on, and it fits very well. I'm super happy with it. The yarn I am using is this solid color with this self-striping yarn from Freckled Whimsy. And I think the Freckled Whimsy yarn is called Magic Umbrella. The purple color, or maroon colored, is called Observatory Circle, that I bought in Ellensburg, I think last year. I don't see here it is. Freckled Whimsy, yeah, Magic Umbrella. This was an August 2023 club. They're Spells and Things club. And the pattern is in this Knit Happy book by Stephanie Lotven, who is also Tellybean Knits. This is the second time I've knit this sweater. Oops, this way. And I'm liking this one a bit better, although I still like the other one. The nice thing about using superwash yarn is that it grows. If, you know, I had a very limited amount of yarn the first time I knit it. So it's nice that it kind of grows with you. And I think knitted garments kind of do that. They eventually fit your body. Taking a sip of tea. Speaking of hot beverages. So as you wear your knitted items, I think they do kind of tend to form to your body, which is pretty cool, I think. The next project I have been working on is it's a bottom-up tee, and it's also from this same book. So it is, let's see, it's, oh, wrong hand. Oh my goodness. That is so weird. It's this one here. And I have to remember what it's called. Bright Axis Tee. Let me show you what it looks like in a bigger picture. So right now I'm just working on, you know, that plain stockinette. So I'm, you know, maybe a little over a third done until I add that self-striping piece of it. And this is also a Freckled Whimsy yarn that is going to go with this. And this Freckled Whimsy yarn is Dumbledore Socks, and it's Spells and Things #2 of November 2022. Freckled Whimsy, in case you're not familiar, one of my favorite self-striping yarn dyers. I have a lot of her yarn. I love knitting socks out of her yarn, and I also like knitting garments out of her yarn. So I can put that away. I can put this book away. And then carry on with the other projects. Before I completely leave the sock, this is in a bag. Oh, I forgot. This is in a bag made by my mom. It's just a simple drawstring bag that she sewed together. She's a quilter, so she has a lot of fabric and uses a sewing machine very well. I love the garlic fabric because it definitely fits with the gardening theme, which is also another one of my hobbies. This bag was made by my partner. He has an industrial sewing machine and made this out of scrap. I think it's faux leather because it's kind of starting to fall apart here, sadly. And then this is a really nice leather belt that his mom gave him when he was in high school. And it's not really his style, so but he kept it because he's kind of a sentimental guy, and I love it that he was able to put it in this project bag, this very special project bag. I hope he's able to fix this sort of shedding that this is doing. So I was kind of carrying around the yarn in this bag, and I wanted to share with you the needles. So Chowdhury red lace, of course. So the main needles are the US size 5, and the ribbing is US size 4. So, and I just picked up a whole bunch of just scrap yarns that I thought would go together. So this is the walrus, this green. I think I got this in a scrap exchange. This is a spin cycle yarn that I used in a cowl. I did not end up using this, and I think it's a worsted weight yarn. And the other two yarns I used, I honestly don't remember what this peach yarn is, but I'm pretty sure it's a DK weight. I feel like I knit something for my sister out of this, so it's probably not wool since she is allergic. And where's the other one? Okay, this is the other contrast color I used, and this is a Madeline Tosh DK that I used in a shawl. So fun to put, that is the awesome thing about doodles. Here's the book that I was referring to. Doodle Knit Directory. And she does have some patterns in the camera. Cut me off. Said I had spoke enough. Thank you very much. But I also want to show you the design. I have to tell you, going to that yarn festival was super fun. There was just so many great people there. I just kind of felt like I found my tribe. So this is how it works. And she has this information on her website. And if you buy her patterns, I think she typically includes this worksheet, but she had copies of different motifs and we just cut them out and then arrange them. So it's upside down because I knit a top down sock. So, you know, you can do this one of two ways. You can arrange it in this way and then turn it upside down when you knit, or I just turned it upside down so I would have my colors in the right, so I could read the colors of what the contrasting colors for each motif was. So that was super fun. I keep wanting to blather on about the festival. This was also made by my mom. This is a lined drawstring project bag. But I'll get to that. I want to get through the knitting. I'm really excited. So get to the knitting, Corrina. Get to the knitting. Another project bag made by my mom out of the same fabric. I bought, I don't know how many, I bought my mom this fabric at a store in Maine. Apparently I bought her a lot. I'm not a sewist, so I don't understand quantities that well. But she keeps, I have obviously more than one bag made out of this fabric, and I have to kind of secure it because at least one of the cats, and sometimes both, like to mess with my yarn. I also have this one in here. This is horse fabric and also made by my mom. So in this bag, I have a ton of scraps. Varying sizes. So some Advent, I think this was part of the exchange I mentioned, and so on. And this is because I'm knitting a blanket. You might remember, and this is getting unraveled, this is Kemper Ray's Coziest Memory blanket. I started this some time ago and then abandoned it, let it hibernate. And then Kay Jones came out with a pattern, another mitered square pattern, where the squares are much smaller. And it's called the 100 Acre Wood blanket. And it's part of the Bakery Bears Summer of Stitching, which is for the patrons. So look at this cute little square. So I've done one square, I'm on the second one. And you can just see the difference in size. So it's, I don't know. I mean, it shouldn't be half the size, but it kind of almost seems like it. So there it is, kind of held together. Just because the way the stitch count is, but I'm just having a lot of fun. I know this yarn is from, I think this was the 2024 Freckled Whimsy Advent. I am using Addie's Flexi Flips for these. These are 2.75 millimeter needles, so I could probably go down a needle size. You know, I've never had a blanket at a fingering weight. You can see over there, that's a crocheted blanket, probably worsted weight. There's one behind me that's also crocheted. It's a cotton blend, so maybe, you know, at least DK kind of worsted. And then any other blanket that I have crocheted, I've never knit one. I've used that heavier yarn. So I'm curious what this this fingering weight scrap blanket is. But it's been fun. I've enjoyed it a lot. I love Kay Jones patterns, and it's really fun. This is meant to be a long-term project, but let me show you what her blanket looks like. I don't remember how many squares she has, but there are a lot. So it's a great use of scrap yarn. And I have a lot. So I love scrappy projects, anywhere from scrappy socks. I have 2 pairs of socks on that are hibernating right now. I just haven't been super interested in knitting those socks, although I'm, of course, really excited about knitting my own design. So that is really fun. All right. What else? I think I have 2 more projects. Can you believe it? So this one I haven't worked that much on, but just a reminder, it's the mini mock neck tank. This is a very nice quilted bag that my mom made. You can see the lovely quilting, and it's lined, and it's got this nice drawstring. So it's got this, could be hand-dyed fabric. I don't know if she dyed it or if I'm guessing she purchased it, although she has hand-dyed yarn before. So this is the mini mock neck tank. It's by Jessie Maed Designs. I'm holding 2 strands of lace weight together. It calls for fingering weight yarn, and I have this really pretty pink yarn. So, and like I said, I just haven't got very far from where I was. I mean, I think I had joined in the round last time, and honestly, I think this is the shoulder. So yeah. And this is the front. So what I'm showing you is the back. So it doesn't look like much. I'll try to work harder on that this week. I am using, the yarn is by Nativity. It's this really pretty pink. Nativity, who is an independent yarn dyer in Houston. And the needles I'm using are Addie's. Oh, they may be the Chow-Gu. Looks like they're size 4, so 3.5 millimeter. Okay, I have been talking a long time about, my works in progress, and I got one more that I just cast on this week. So this is also counts as a new cast on. And this is out of repurposed yarn. You might remember the Calliope sweater that I was unraveling, and have 2 nice balls of yarn. This is also Nativity yarn with probably a Barocco mohair, and I am knitting another Love Note by Tin Can Knits. So I just cast it on. I did the ribbing, and I'm just starting on the increases. You're supposed to do a provisional cast on and then work the body and then work the neckline, but I'm not really sure why. So I just start at the neckline and just knit top down. So these are US size 10. Size 10, is that right? I think they're 10 millimeter needles. So this should go pretty quickly. I have another Love Note sweater that I wear. It's very warm, so I honestly don't wear it that often, but I love the color. Excuse me. And I didn't really like the way the Calliope sweater fit me. It's very pretty in the picture, but it's just a little too straight up and down for my taste. Okay, 20 minutes later, I get through all the active works in progress. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 projects, which seems a little excessive. Usually I knit on 2 and then sometimes a third if I have extra time. I've just been super excited about thinking about designing. Have to put the pattern back in the bag. All right, shall we talk about Fiberfest, because it was super fun. It's the first time I've ever been to a fiber festival before. And this one is really nice because it's free to get into. It was easy for me to get there. It's at the Evergreen State Fairgrounds, which is in Monroe, Washington. So it only takes me about a half hour to get there. That was really great. And I'm just looking at my notes. So I already told you about the class that I took from Jamie Lomax. There were a lot of other classes like spinning and weaving and yarn dyeing using natural fibers and, a lot. I'm not sure that there weren't that many knitting classes per se. The spinning class was really big. I mean, and everyone had spinning wheels. And then there were some other ones that I'm not entirely sure what they were about because I was a little bit late arriving and just felt kind of in a hurry to get to my class. I took some pictures, but I am not a photographer. So hopefully I'll just be able to share with you my impressions. It was a gorgeous day. We had summer last week. It was really, really awesome. If you stay and watch through the end, I talk about drought and I talk about the impact on the well to the barn. So stay tuned for that if you are interested. Anyway, there weren't any vendors on last Friday. It was just the class. It was a 2-hour class and Jamie was very generous with her time and her resources, and we all get one pattern. So I know which pattern I'm going to get. It's the winter sweater one because I would love to use a lot of winter motifs. Speaking of, so I stopped by Jamie's booth, Pacific Knit Co. on Sunday. I went on Sunday. Saturday, I went on a trail ride with my friend. So I could show her the progress on my sock. And she was really impressed with that. And also she had these mystery doodle packets. So she had, if you go to her website, if you like stranded colorwork knitting and you like motifs, she has so many doodle collections. I have her basic doodle collection, and that has, I can't remember how many cards it has in it, but it comes in a pack. Pardon me while I rustle around. So this is the basic doodle pack. So it's like a deck of cards, and it has a couple patterns, like how to make an infinity cowl and stuff like that. Actually, I'll leave that there because I might want to play with that letter. So what's fun with cards is because you can arrange them. And if you have maybe tape that's not super sticky, you can arrange them in a chart so that you can follow the pattern. So because she has so many different collections of doodles, these mystery packs are a set of 6 random doodle cards. So when I open the pack, the first one is the Portland, the Hawthorne Bridge. So it looks like that. And then there's Rhinebeck. And these are music notes. I want to make sure I hold them in the right direction. And then there is one from the Winter collection. I think it goes like that. It kind of doesn't matter. And then there's one from, this one was made for the Fiber Fusion, and this is a bunny, Fiber Fusion Northwest. So this is a new one. I'll get my finger out of the way. A bunny. And then there is a garden collection with these 2 little flower pots. She has a camping collection. So this one's a tent. And then she has a dinosaur collection. And this is a T-Rex skull. So here's what I'm thinking. And I don't know if I can hold these. I probably can't hold them so that they make a lot of sense. So what I thought is, like, if I designed something, I don't know, a sock or a cowl or something, probably a sock. You know, I have this Portland on top. So this is going to be the story. It's Portland, which has a great music scene. And then we're going to get into the season. So it's winter, and then maybe spring's coming and the bunnies start to emerge. Portland, it's garden season, and Portland is also a great garden city. They have a wonderful rose garden, a public rose garden. And then also Portland is known for their outdoorsiness. So then put this camping thing, and then this mysterious, like, archaeological find underneath, you know, buried deep underneath the campsite or something like that. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about how to use this mystery doodle. So, you know, and like you saw, I have a ton of scraps, so I can definitely use those for making something. And who knows, maybe I'll make another pair of house socks to experiment with. You will also notice that I have a sock blocker. So that was one of my goals, was to purchase a sock blocker, a pair of sock blockers. So this was made by someone nearby on Kamado Island, which is west of here. And I love the owl motif. Owl and, you know, just kind of woodland forest. So I got these lovely wood sock blockers. Sunrise Grove Knittery. I've never blocked my socks, but when I was, Jamie brought a lot of samples to her class. And then some of the socks, they had obviously been blocked, and they were just so nice. I thought, wow, maybe I'm going to start blocking my socks now. We'll see. So another thing, I have this yarn, and I've shown this before. This is the Woolen Women. This was part of retail therapy when I first injured my shoulder, which is, you know, still in recovery. I'm doing strength building now. I've got pretty good range of motion now. I'm just trying to work on strength and coordination. This is beautiful yarn. And it's Kentucky Derby. It was the May Woolen Women box. And it also came with this, which you might know that Kentucky Derby, it has a tradition for wearing hats. So I didn't want to make a hat out of this. So I went to my local yarn store booth and found these 2 colors that I think go with this yarn very well. Let me see if I can show it this way. Goes very well. So I'm thinking of making like a t-shirt or something out of this. It might be striped. I don't know yet. I know that Tana's Fiber Arts is going to call for test knitters for a tank top. I'm kind of hoping that well, it depends on the call. I'm hoping that I can maybe do a test knit. Oh, also the same place that I got the sock blockers, I got this cute little morel mushroom progress keeper. So look forward to that. Using that. I do need to go to Michael's and get some. They're kind of like earring back. They're bigger than the lobster claw, but that's what I want to put this on. I have like the light bulb type stitch markers I could use on that, but on the bigger needles, I found that they get stuck. So that is that. We are getting there. So another thing, there is this yarn dyer from Idaho that has these little mystery envelopes. and they're like, I don't know, $7 or $10. I can't remember. So you just pick one, and inside you get a mystery. I wish she had the, I mean, there's no label, so I don't even, I know she's from Idaho, but I got this nifty little mini skein, which I should put in my scrap blanket pile. And there's a coupon in every single one of these. And she probably had at least 100 of these little envelopes. And the coupons range from like $10 off to, I think, $100 off. Well, I opened this and I got a coupon for $75 off. Wow, lucky me. I felt that was such a great day. So hopefully, Trilogy yarns. It's on the yarn. So this is what I got. And she's from Boise, Idaho. This is Jewel. You can tell I love pink. This is Daisy. And I was trying to, oh, it is superwash merino and 20% nylon. And this is, I think this is peony. Yes, this is peony. So, you know, I'm kind of thinking the same thing. I might make like a t-shirt or a tank top or something out of this. I could make a shawl. You'll notice that I am wearing a shawl. It was so hot. We had all the windows open, and you know, we have windows up there that's west facing, and the sun would just come blazing in the afternoon. So we shut those, and it requires a ladder and all that. It's a hassle, in other words. Well, and then it cooled down, so so I'm wearing a shawl, and I don't mind. I don't like wearing a shawl out. I think they're too much of, you know, they don't stay connected when I want to use my arms for things. So I typically make ponchos or turn my shawls into ponchos. But I don't know. This is so pretty. I could potentially make a shawl out of this, or, you know, maybe a poncho. I do love ponchos. I just wanted to share, just before I leave the whole fiber fusion, here is the program. It was really great. There were tons. I would say there was probably 85 booths. A lot of product for spinners. I mean, there were demonstrations. There were animals there in a separate barn because this was at a fairground. So there was, you know, different kinds of fiber sheep, fiber goats like Angora. There were some fiber bunnies. So I watched a demonstration of how you comb the fur of an Angora bunny. And, you know, just how delicate their skin is. And it was just really sweet to see this little bunny being held like that and getting combed, and you know, wear the different fiber from the different parts of the body, like the tummy fur versus the fur on the paws and back and sides and stuff. So that was pretty cool. And then finally, I think this is where I'm going to, this in conclusion, this is something else I got. I got this Vogue knitting book, and it is, I bought it used. I bought it from Thrift Books, and it's quite new feeling and looking, and it has everything you could possibly want about knitting, I think, in a book. And there includes a section on brioche. I have mentioned before that I would like to design a brioche sweater because I had a bad experience with trying to knit one from somebody else's pattern. So how to do that. And this may, you know, I don't really intend to design for anyone but myself. I'm happy to share patterns if I get to that point. You know, like I said, I'm happy to share my sock pattern if you are interested. And there is also a section in here on designing sweaters and shawls. So this has kind of piqued my interest. I really do like knitting garments. I mean, there's a section in here on caps and hats and mittens and gloves and socks and stockings and toe up and toe down and toe up and toe down, cuff down. And and toes and heels and stuff like that. So really, really great. And there's a whole section on here on square and rectangular shawls, Shetland shawls, triangular shawls, circular and half circular shawls, crescent, Faroese shawls, and other words that I'm not even sure I've seen before and definitely don't know how to pronounce. Very cool. I look forward to digging into it. There's a ton of diagrams and drawings, and you know, I'm a visual learner, but usually I have to kind of be doing it all at the same time. I find the drawings in this book to be very clear. And for someone like me who is a little bit challenged with directions, I think this is going to be super helpful. Oh my goodness. I hope you have got a lot done on your project. And if you want to stay for I think there's maybe 10 minutes of horsemanship stuff. Enjoy. I hope the lighting was okay today. I've been kind of trying to make the lighting work without being irritating. I do notice, nope, that way, that there is a little bit of a glare on that picture of my late thoroughbred BG, otherwise known as Winterproof. So hopefully you didn't notice until I pointed that out. With that, I will say goodbye and see you next time. Thank you. Howdy. Thank you for joining me for the walk out to the barn to feed the boys. I hope this new format suits you. I thought this would be the horsemanship part, but maybe I've already explained that in the previous segment. So I'm going to go out and feed the horses. So turn you around and hopefully you enjoy the peonies that are there. I originally cut them to bring in the house, but discovered that they had some ants. So put them on the porch here so the ants could live freely and we could still enjoy them while we were at the kitchen sink. You can see the peony plant there. There's more up front on the south side of the house that it's kind of, they're a pale pink. They're really beautiful, but they are surrounded by weeds. So I need to do something about that. So we are taking a detour on the way to the barn to go to the well house, because yesterday afternoon when I went to feed the evening feed, I saw that the boys had only drank out of one water trough or water muck tub. And I noticed that the other one looked like it was just full of dirt or mud or something like that. So we have two wells. And I went to run the hose again, thinking it was just kind of an isolated incident perhaps. And the bucket started filling up with that mucky water again. So I texted my farrier who lives nearby, has a whole herd of horses, and asked her what professional that she knows and trusts. So she gave me a couple names and then gave me a lot of great advice. And we have had a really dry, I think we're in a drought already, and it's June. Today's June 13th, if I haven't mentioned that, 2025. We are in a drought already. And as I walk by the creek, you'll see that it is already very low. Now, we have two wells, one to the house, one to the barn. The one to the house is a shallow dug well that seems like it produces water pretty well. It's in a perched aquifer, I believe. The deep well is in a much deeper aquifer. So even though logic would tell you, so you can see the creek, but you can see a lot of rocks in the stream bed and not a lot of flowing water. So a deep well, you would think, Well, there's obviously more water in there. But, you know, it's in a separate water table, if you will, or aquifer. So that aquifer may be running low. And as you know, the journey to the barn from the house is great. So when I called the well professional, he suggested using the other well to water the horses. Hi, boys. And it's like, oh, good grief, how am I going to do that? So there's the solution. Hi-oh. Ducking under the electric fence, so I have to duck lower. So my solution was to bring the muck tubs and buckets up to the house, fill them up, and it looks like they have maybe drank some. It's hard to tell. And slowly bring it back down to here. And of course I spilled some along the way. Hi, buddy. This, of course, is going to make the horse care routine more complex. It means that I can't really separate them too much. Here's their other choice, green water, which they may be, there's fish in here. They may be drinking that. Sometimes algae can produce toxins. I don't know. They seem happy and healthy, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. Anyway, the well guy can't get out here till Tuesday or Wednesday, so in between now and then, I have to figure out the best solution for watering the boys. And hopefully, I mean, they're naturally wary of new things, so that new water setup is probably strange, undoubtedly strange. So all that to say, this will be a journey of discovery. Horsemanship wise, had a lesson with both Bragi and Odin yesterday. Bragi got in the trailer really quick, was just completely on board with it. Here's my feed room, I think you've seen before. So we had a chance to work with Odin on the ground, helping him use his body more. And that was really great. And then I went on a trail ride with a friend. So it's my second trail ride since I injured my arm. I don't know why I'm unplugging the fence. I'm not going to do anything with it. Habits. So that was really great. I'm hoping to go for a trail ride tomorrow morning. How about if I turn you around? Hoping to go for a trail ride tomorrow morning with a friend who got injured, I think, in December, and this is her first trail ride. So hoping to do that tomorrow. It'll be a very slow and gentle one. We'll see how things go, especially with the water situation. I just kind of don't know what to think. Have a lesson with Bragi today. I think we're going to try to put both Bragi and Odin in the trailer again and just see how that goes. So that's it for the horsemanship piece. All I want to say is that if you have animals, you will understand that when there's something difficult about providing for your animal's needs and they completely rely on you for everything that they need and something as important as water, it is really stressful. So glad to see them. They're bright-eyed this morning and appear to be happy. So we will just see. All right, everyone, take care. Hey friends, I just wanted to give you an update on the well water. It looks much better this morning. So turning off the power to the pump and letting it recover overnight seemed to have worked. So I wanted to leave that as a happy ending. And let's just all take a deep breath. Know that these things will pass. I mean, last night I was worried about not being able to take care of my animals properly, having a very expensive fix. If you have a well, you know that that can be very expensive, but thank goodness for knowledgeable friends who have experience with this sort of thing and can recommend great professionals and also give their own great advice. And on that note, I will say goodbye for this week.